Hi guys and welcome back. My name is Nikki and today I'm going to paint some fan art for you guys while I review this bad boy. So this is City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. So I've been drawing fan art for years and I've loved reading my whole life. So today I thought I might do a oil portrait of our main character Loren while I review the book. So I'm going to tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and just my general thoughts. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, I absolutely loved this book. Is this a long one? Yes. But was I thinking about this book whenever I wasn't actually reading it? Also yes. The characters, the tension, a plot I didn't actually predict, it was just great. Stunning. So while I draw Loren, I'm not going to go through plot blow by blow as I imagine you've read it if you're here, and there's going to be massive spoilers obviously. But I'm just going to talk about the main bits that stood out to me, what I loved, what I didn't. There was honestly a lot going on in this book with a lot of subplots going on, so we'll be here all day if we try to cover all of that, so I'm just going to hit the main bits and see how we go. So the story starts out and we meet Loren. That is strictly Loren, not Lauren. And she's a human living in a magical society that has werewolves, vampires, witches, and hellsayers, which are basically bounty hunters that can see people's auras and track them by it, and are separated into different gangs identifiable by their sick-ass neck tats. The city is also overrun with demons at night, and the magical folk also have things called familiar spirits, which are like a regular familiar, but these live in your shadow and they can be called on whenever, which is pretty cool. It's different. So Loren is a human and she's out at the clubs with her adoptive sister Dallas and her friend Sabrine. Now someone tries to abduct Loren and instead they end up taking Sabrine, which kicks off our whole story with multiple different bounty hunters all out to get Loren. So one such bounty hunter who rolls on up is the man of the hour, Mr. Darian Castle, who, could you believe, is actually the leader of the most feared and badass Hellsayer circle, the Seven Devils. So this book is actually dual POV, so we actually get to meet Darian before his meet cute with Loren, when he's killing demons in a fighting pit, and then afterwards accepts the contract on hunting and kidnapping Loren. So Darian is stalking Loren, and when he eventually makes his move, it's in a very public place, and there are other Hellsayers there who are also there trying to kidnap her. These however have a phoenix head symbol tattoo on their necks, which is not a known Hellsayer circle. So Darian saves Loren from these Hellsayers because she's human and has a pure aura, and he's suspicious of why there would be a bounty out on an innocent person. So their first interaction was a little bit insta-lusty for me. He's holding a gun to her head, threatening to shoot her, and her first thought is, damn, he's banging! Which, to be fair, Darian, I was immediately on board. What a man. But Loren actually believes that he wants to help her and goes back with him to his bounty hunting gang's house. So at the Seven Devils clubhouse, we meet some of the others in the circle, including Lace, who's a raging bitch for apparently no reason, calling Loren a half-life and waving around a knife like a psycho. Now we later find out her and Darian dated, but then that plotline never really goes anywhere and the animosity is never resolved. But in any case, this whole scene kind of made me laugh because she's described as wearing a full skin-tight bodysuit, which later is described as some sort of protecting, super cool killing outfit, but instead I was kind of picturing her like this. From this point on, there's basically just a lot of little side quests of Darian trying to piece together who has the contract out on Loren and what they want her for. So this kind of drags on for the first third of the book, which I got a little bit bored with, but at the same time enough happens to keep hooking you through to keep you reading. Loren also just does a lot of dumb stuff throughout this and couldn't follow a simple instruction to save her life. But whenever Loren is being a moron, which is basically always, Darian has zero patience for her, and I kind of loved that. Loren makes bad decisions basically every time Darian isn't with her. Like he leaves the house to go do something, and Loren is immediately like, well, time to go do something incredibly dumb and short-sighted. But this doesn't actually really drive the plot. Every time she does something like this, Darian usually intercepts it, goes, God damn, you're an idiot, and that's the end of that, which is refreshing. Loren being a dumbass is kind of just a personality trait instead of a plot device, and I love that. Now, skipping forward a bit to the vigil that they hold for Sabrine while she's still missing. Dallas was giving me major red flags here. She was kind of nasty towards Loren basically the whole book, and I was so sure she was going to be involved in the Phoenix Head Society. But at the vigil, she's crying and lighting candles and whatnot until Darian and Max, which is one of the other 7 devils, turns up, and she's immediately like a 180 into flirting with Max. I was waiting for a betrayal the whole book because Dallas's character is so inconsistent, and Loren is just a doormat to her, forgiving her every single time that she flies off the handle for no apparent reason. Anyway, Darian and Max are talking to Loren and trying to figure out a bit about Sabrine's situation and family, and they tell them about how Sabrine's dad was abusive. Max immediately goes like full white knight, like, oh, let's go pay him a visit. This kind of cracked me up because these are literally the most feared assassins ever who murder anyone that a decent fee comes up for, but someone else being violent to an innocent and they're immediately on their high horse. Like, am I meant to be like, oh gosh, how gallant? And I know Darian did say the auras of people he's hunted are usually dark and twisted, but like, come on, I doubt he's that discriminating. Sabrine does eventually turn up, but is so near death someone turns her into a werewolf to save her, which breaks a pact with the vampires, which gives head vampire Calanthe a reason to enter the chat. Anyway, very long story short, many side quests later, we eventually find out about this thing called the Arcanum Well, which can turn humans immortal, heal people from the tricking, which is a disease you contract from the overuse of magic, and give immortals more power. So every man and his dog is basically trying to get in on the action here. So we've got Calanthe, who's head of the vampires, the headmaster from the school Loren was at, and Randall, who's the head of the Hellsayers circles in general, and also happens to be Darian's father, and a bit of a psychopath. So they kidnap Loren, and are trying to use her to activate the replica of the well that they've manufactured. So they've been trying to use it and experimenting on all these kidnapped girls who've gone missing, but it keeps turning them into demons and backfiring. So the headmaster and Randall both have the tricking, which is why they want the well functioning so they can be healed. So Randall's thrown Loren into the well at this point, but realizes that she can't make it work. Darian turns up trying to rescue her, and to try to draw them away, he says that he needs spell words from a scroll that's in a particular house. Randall at this point realizes he doesn't need Loren, I guess, and he throws her into the river. But then Calanthe has to go looking for her, and I'm like, why did you throw her out? Like, you already had her, and now you have to go find her again? Anyway, Darian goes with Randall to his house, which he happens to know holds a bound death god casually. This god goes to town and kills Randall, and I mean, we're all cheering for that because he sucked. And Darian manages to escape. The time that Loren was in the well, however, destabilized it, and the energy coming off it has caused some explosions that release some of Randall's demon experiments. So they're kind of zombie vibes here, that when they bite someone, they instantly mutate into a demon too. So the 7 Devils gang, they hatch a plan to try to get the antidote into the shield system that covers the city so that it will rain down and cure everyone while they try to dismantle the well. This goes badly to say the least. It explodes and wipes out the whole city. So Loren wakes up and is the only survivor, as she was wearing one of the fun military morph suits. Now I'm not sure why she would survive and not any military person who by chance was wearing this suit at the time of the explosion, but I digress. I actually loved these end scenes. When the well explodes and Loren is just sitting in the ashes of the city in dead silence, like, the writing was so beautiful, it was so well done, it felt so real to me, and it was just really atmospheric. So Loren has been wearing a pendant the whole time, which was bought by her father so that she could make a wish to the god of time if she ever needed it. Don't really know how he came across that. I feel like they kind of blah blah blahed on that one. But she wishes that the well hadn't exploded, so the god of time reverses the explosion. So Loren has saved the city. The people in the demon attack weren't saved, however, and the clock wasn't round back far enough for Randall to come back alive, but we don't know what's happened to Calanthe. We do find out, however, that the person who originally hired Darian was Loren's father, who was trying to find her this whole time, and Loren is reunited with him. I was a tiny bit confused by this, because I'm not sure sending psychopathic bounty hunters after your daughter who you want safe and unharmed is the move. But to make a very long story short, Loren's father, Erasmus, was besties with Dallas's father, Rourke, and hundreds of years ago they made the well together. Erasmus's wife, however, was infertile, so they used the well to create Loren. Now, the process of doing this made Erasmus and Rourke immortal, and they became the first Hellsayers. So I thought this was super cool, like a story with witches, vampires, and werewolves, which is kind of the paranormal holy trinity. Seemed kind of strange to have like this fourth weird supernatural being thrown in, so I love that their existence and creation was part of the storyline. So Erasmus and Rourke feared that they would be hunted down to use the well to make others immortal. So they faked their deaths, Rourke changed his name, and Erasmus left Loren at the church for Rourke to find and care for her. This didn't really make sense to me, because I'm like, why couldn't Erasmus change his name and raise her? And why was it so hard to find her? I get that Rourke's name had been changed, but he was kind of like an army superstar and everyone knew his face. So shouldn't Erasmus have eyeballed him on TV and been like, oh, that's where my kid is? Maybe I missed something here because I was like, what? We don't really find out too much about Loren's reunion with her father because that final scene is in Darian's point of view, who's watching from afar. But I imagine we'll be getting all that gossip in the sequel because I think there's another 2 after this one. So my general thoughts on the romance. I loved Darian and Loren together, but I did feel for a slow burn it started out a little bit too early. I get that we were going for enemies to lovers, but he almost shoots her and is trying to abduct her, but then she sees his face and is like, I guess there's worse things than being kidnapped. A bit more of a slow burn I would have liked, but even then the tension and the banter between them is great and the way their relationship builds is really cute. There's a little bit of a miscommunication trope that goes on, but nothing that drags on for too much, and in a true slow burn fashion they only officially get together at like 95% of the way through the book. Although there is a bit of a throne room scene in the club before they actually get together. The moment that Darian enters the book boyfriend Hall of Fame, however, is when Loren's dog Singer dies trying to protect her in a demon attack. Loren is absolutely devastated by this. She loves Singer so much and she's just distraught. She tries to go to a crossroads demon to try to get the demon to bring the dog back, but she doesn't have anything worthy of trading with the demon. So Darian finds out that that's what she tries to do, and he goes back to this demon, which is a creepy ass spider, and he offers years of his life to bring the dog back. He'd been warned that things never come back how they should, and I was like, oh no, well, this is a mistake. But then he goes back to the house and tells Loren about it, and Singer comes out of the shadow as her familiar spirit. I nearly cried, like Loren had always wanted a familiar spirit, but because she wasn't magical, she never had one. So it means that Singer will live as long as she does, and she'll never be alone again. I thought this was so beautiful, and Darian fully won me over at this point. On the whole, I thought this book was incredible. I feel like I haven't seen a whole lot of high quality urban fantasies, and I love the more modern setting and how seamlessly it all blended with the magical aspects of the story. I felt like the world building of this was really great as well. I felt like I understood how all the magical factions kind of fit into the society structure and how they all interacted with one another. I also just love anything with witches, vampires, and werewolves. Like, I'm a YA paranormal gal at heart. And then adding in the Hellsayers as well. I just love that. And I love the fact that their existence was for a purpose in the plotline and they weren't just there for the sake of existing. I thought that was really great. I will be recommending this book to all my friends, and I would give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It's not very spicy, but like the banter between Loren and Darian is really 10 out of 10 and consistent throughout the whole book. So I really love this, and I hope you guys will check it out. Next time I'll be drawing and reviewing Haymitch in Sunrise and the Reaping, and hopefully I'll catch you there. Thank you for watching.